Keep chasing your goal whether you are alone, broke, tired, or scared, because that's when it counts the most. Not when the crowd is cheering, not when the doors are opening, but when it's just you and your faith. Today we're going on a journey through betrayal, loneliness, injustice, pain, and redemption. And at the center of it all, a man named Joseph. His story in the Bible isn't just history, it's a divine strategy, a survival guide for the soul. This is Breaking Limits, and this is your reminder that your current condition is not your final destination. Joseph was 17 years old, just a teenager, but he had a dream from God that was so vivid, so divine, that it rattled his entire family. In Genesis chapter 37, verse 5, it says, "And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brother, and they hated him yet the more." He wasn't hated because he was evil. He wasn't hated because he did something wrong. He was hated because of what God placed inside of him. Some of you know that feeling. You've been misunderstood, mocked, looked over. Why? Because your vision is too big for small-minded people. But remember this, God gives you the dream, not the approval of others. Dreamers walk alone until their dreams become real. And even then, people won't understand how you made it. But God will. Joseph's own brothers betrayed him. Genesis chapter 37 verse 23 says, "And it came to pass when Joseph was coming close to his brother, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. They stripped him of the symbol of his father's love. They threw him in a pit, and they sold him to strangers." But here's the secret. They could strip his coat, but they couldn't strip his calling. Your value is not in what people see, it's in what God knows. Don't panic when people walk away. Don't fold when the support disappears. Sometimes God will allow people to betray you, to push you toward the place He has prepared for you. The pit wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. Joseph ended up as a slave in Potiphar's house. Genesis chapter 39 verse 2 says, "And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian." Even as a slave, he prospered. That's a word for somebody. Your surroundings don't define your favor. Your title doesn't limit your testimony. Joseph worked with integrity, and God elevated him. But just when it looked like things were improving, he was falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and thrown into prison. Let that sink in. Joseph did everything right, and still ended up in prison. Have you ever tried your best, stayed faithful, avoided shortcuts, and still got punished? It's not because God forgot you, it's because He's preparing you for something greater than your current situation can handle. Genesis chapter 39 verse 21 says, "But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison." Even in a dark, forgotten place, Joseph served others. He interpreted dreams. He comforted the broken. He waited patiently, even when it hurt. Some of you are in a prison season right now. Not a literal jail, but a place where you feel stuck, financially, emotionally, spiritually. But hear this clearly. God does His best work in hidden places. Your prison is not a punishment. It's a preparation. God is building you in private so you can lead in public. Joseph helped Pharaoh's butler in prison and asked for one thing: "Remember me." But in Genesis chapter 40 verse 23 it says, "He did not remember Joseph, but kept forgetting him." Joseph was forgotten by man, but not by God. 2 more years passed. Why the delay? Because God's timing is not based on convenience, it's based on completion. Sometimes the delay is divine. What you call waiting, God calls perfecting. One day Pharaoh had a dream that no one could interpret, and suddenly Joseph was remembered. He stood before Pharaoh, not as a victim, but as a vessel. Genesis chapter 41 verse 38 says, "And Pharaoh said to his servants, 'Can we find such a man in whom there is the Spirit of God?' Joseph interpreted the dream, and just like that, he was elevated to second in command over all of Egypt. From the pit to Potiphar's house, to the prison, to the palace. And through it all, God never left him. Joseph eventually faced his brothers again, the same ones who betrayed him, but he didn't seek revenge. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 says, "But as for you, meant evil for me, but God meant it for good, to bring to pass, as it is day, to preserve the life of many people." He saw the bigger picture. Your pain has purpose, your story has power, and your endurance will save others one day. You are not just surviving for yourself, you're blazing a trail for someone else to follow. Keep chasing your goal whether you are alone, broke, tired, or scared. Why? Because Joseph did, and because God is still faithful. Romans chapter 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that all things work together for our good to them that love God, to them who are the called ones according to his purpose." This is your season of growth. This is your training ground. This is not the end. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep trusting. If this message stirred your spirit, don't let it stop with you. Like this video. Share it. Subscribe to Breaking Limits for more faith-driven inspiration every week. Turn on notifications. We're building a community of warriors, overcomers, and dreamers who know God still moves in impossible situations. Because at Breaking Limits, we don't quit, we rise.